Welcome once again. So today's concept is conflict management. Conflict is something which is unavoidable, and if we think that we can spare from the conflict, and if we are working in a team, it is not at all possible. आपके साथ भी कई बार ऐसा हुआ होगा जब आपको ऐसा लगा होगा कि इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट, वी कैन नॉट वर्क विद दिस टीम, एंड समटाइम्स वी आर सिटिंग इन अ डिस्कशन टेबल एंड वी रियलाइज कि इस मीटिंग में सब कुछ हमारे अगेंस्ट जा रहा है. So this is discussion, this is conflict is just a disagreement with the opinion, and conflict is something which is very it is deep, it's inbuilt in our life, because if we are working with the people, if we are working with other environment outside yourself, then it is always expected to have conflict, because everybody is coming from a different mindset, different belief, and they are having a different opinions, and they are having a different perspective toward a particular situation. At the same time, conflict is going on inside ourselves also. you know we just talk about external conflict with people, with the situation, with the organization, with the department, but there is a conflict inside. Sometimes we are not able to control our thoughts. Sometimes our heart, mind, words, action, everything is going out of our control. So that conflict is another type of conflict, and with which we suffer. So I find it's internal as well as external. Another way to look and categorization of the conflict is, sometimes conflict is substantive. Substantive means it's related to job. you know there's a that situation is not going well with you, like मेरे को ड्यूटीज चेंजिंग में प्रॉब्लम आ रही है, या फिर मेरा जो हमेशा का इन्वेंट्री वाला इशू है वो मेरा सीनियर नहीं समझ पा रहा है कि ये प्रॉब्लम्स आ रही हैं, या कुछ और ऐसे प्रोसेस प्रोटोकॉल रिलेटेड इश्यूज. Whereas another is effective, जहाँ पर हमें इमोशंस के कारण कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स होते हैं. मुझे वो इंसान पसंद नहीं है, इसलिए मुझे उसकी कोई भी बात भी पसंद नहीं आती है, चाहे वो ठीक बोले या गलत. ऐसा होता है. And we have to accept it that conflict is something which is inside and which is always with us. Now the thing is that we have to see the signs of conflict, and conflict is always not bad. There is a various way of handling conflict. Conflict can be constructive. इतनी बड़ी बड़ी कंपनीज, एप्पल, जब ये फोन डिजाइन किया जा रहा था, then there was so many conflict on the table. People were not happy with the design, people were not happy with the logo, but ultimately the product which come out of those conflict is highly appreciable in the whole market. So conflict is not always bad. It can be very constructive, fruitful. Another thing is that sometimes conflict is unavoidable. So it's nothing like you have to manage it, you can resolve it, and you can transform it also. So let me tell you one thing. When I was reading about the conflict, I realized कि सब कुछ affect करता है when you are listening somebody. And one thing which is very important, which is not written in any of the literature, जब हम किसी को सुन रहे होते हैं तो it's very important what is our life condition. If I am in a good life condition, I will listen everybody, every situation, every problem very positively, and probably I will be giving a positive solution. Whereas if I myself in a difficult position, then probably I will not be that constructive, innovative while listening somebody's problem, and I can be commenting. So with that note, I really want to, it's my duty always to make you confused about the whole concept, and therefore we call a master who tell us about this with her life story. And today we are welcoming such a fantabulous person. Literally, I am in her touch with a very short span, but I find it very positive, very innovative, very creative. And let me tell you, I really want to share her a brief bio sketch in a chat box, and I request everyone, please do read that. She's a very interesting person. And here I request Miss Elsa. Over to you, Elsa. And thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Rupa, for the wonderful welcome and the nice words. And this is the age show, I'm sure, and you're talking about conflict management. If conflict was not there, I don't think I'm here today. So conflict has brought me a long way, and I'm very grateful to my teachers, Dr. Ratna and Dr. Prakash sir here. they are more than teacher to me. They are like parents to me. They've been like my everything when I was here and when I'm here in Manipal and the lab. And I have Milan here out here. She's my student and my friend. Now we are colleagues and we are good friends and anytime ready to adventure any place in anywhere in the world. So thank you very much for taking me to this platform. I'm really, really happy about it and the energy that you have onto the platform and also sharing our life stories can change someone, because I don't believe in going back to the books and looking at what conflict is, but I would like to narrate my own life story so that how conflict helped me reach this stage. How did I overcome every conflict that I had in my entire life process in the 4.5 decades that I have spent here, as God willing, and God has protected me with His graces at every point of my life when I needed a change and needed a decision when conflict arises in my life. So to begin with, when I was very small, I was one person full of energy, full of play.
Elsa,
yes,
I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you. I just wanted to launch a single poll here, and then I will give you whole time. Yeah, Krish, can you do it? I'm sorry, Elsa. We were having a poll in the beginning, and just out of flow.
No issue, no issue.
Yeah, I hope you wouldn't mind. Yeah, Krish, can you do it? Otherwise, leave it. Today, some technology, there is a glitch on my side, and I cannot do it. So yeah, over to you, Elsa. We are leaving. I'm sincerely apology for not having poll today. Thank you.
No issue,
over to
no
you,
issue.
Elsa.
It's coming. The poll is coming.
Allow me to share the screen. And sorry, it's not. It's a glitch.
It's coming. It's on the screen, the polling.
Dalmati, can we start? Over to you, Elsa.
Thank you, Rupa.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, start.
No issue, no issue. So I'm coming back to my life story. Early in my years of life, I was little mischievous child, full of fun, full of energy, and 24 hours I would like to play. And my mom had difficult time searching for this child, where in which corner of the ground, in which corner of the locality, I've been out for playing. So they had a difficult time managing me, because I was kind of overactive child, wanting to play throughout, and book was never in my list. So I will swim even at the age of 4, 5. I started swimming in big river, even anti-boats with my friends. We were very small, but I learned swimming because we had fishery farm. That's how I learned swimming. And then we swim not in swimming pool. We have swum only in the big river, Sandy River. So we have played enough and we have told enough. So my mom was thinking, what will this girl become of, in future? What do I do with her? Because the rest will sit and study, and I was the only one who would play the whole day. So I studied basically in my father's school. My father was a headmaster. So usually I won't tolerate sitting in the class for half an hour. It was very difficult for me. And if anyone would like to show little faces to me, they already, after the school is over, they get beating from me. So many a times my locality mothers used to come to my mom in the evening and say, your daughter is beating my son and my son is not going to school. This were the first conflict that went into me, because complaint comes in and I used to be quiet. My mom used to ask, did you beat? I said, yes, of course, I've beaten him because he showed, a kind of face which I didn't like it, which is not normal. So these were the some things that went into my small age. Then I said, if you're going to make me study in this Manipuri medium, I am not going to school. I'm sitting at home. I'm going to play. So 3 months I didn't go to school. I said I want to study in English medium school and not in the local medium school. So my father said, it is already March. How do I get a school? Because usually our classes begins in January. So my father went from pillar to post, searching every convent school where he could put his daughter in. But then last, he could not get anywhere in the town because most of the Christian schools are in the hills. So finally he went to district Nonet Sultanpur. It's almost 5 hours journey from my place. And you know what he said to the boarding mistress? Please at least put 1 cot extra and put my daughter. My daughter is not allowing me to sleep and we are having a very bad time at home. So somehow the teachers arranged, seeing the plight that my father had, and that's how by the time I was just 6 years old, I went to the convent school and I was in first standard. From then on, my journey began. So I hardly stayed 6 plus 2 years in between that I'll narrate. So this is how I went. I didn't even know how to bathe myself, and my seniors used to mentor me. There were seniors who took care of two small kids. So they used to give us bath, then they do everything for us. Likewise, I have learned mentoring right from the childhood, where the seniors were so close to us, like our own sister or like our own family members today. And when we grew up, again, we took care of 1 or 2 kids, smaller ones. We looked at the entire affairs of the child is looked after by the seniors. And this is how we grew up as a group in the family of, in a convent school of 10 years, long years, that taught me my entire life what is to be nice. So this is how I went to. But by the time I was fourth standard, I was very good in games and sports. Maybe only cricket I don't know how to play. The rest I play. So I was put in the national game from when I was in class 4. So 1984 I started playing national games. I used to play kho-kho. Then I grew a little bigger and I started playing kabaddi and table tennis. And that's how I have visited many of the cities in India. Where, every winter, in winter time, we used to go for national games. And that's how I have seen, and the teamwork and the kind of inclusiveness that I have today that comes from my sports activities, because in sports people teach you how to work in teams, and that is why I never have any issue of working in teams, and anyone could join in. The receptivity in a member receptivity for a member to a team is always there, and that has taught me not the conflict, but this are the good side of being we being put very early into sports, and that's how we have learned. And one more thing is that when I was in the school, I was very touched, very touched by one of the activities that we do on weekends. We used to distribute. We had a dispensary, and a nurse by name Sister Christina. She's a nun sister. She used to take help of some of our boarding students. Those are willing to do volunteer service. So we used to stand there with, we used to have a lot of milk powder, maize powder, so many powder that we get supply for postnatal mothers, antenatal mothers, and children below 5 years. So we used to supply. So those who can't come in the evening, we used to visit. So I found, one very old lady, maybe in her 80s. She was in a very small hut on the, on the mountain, very high, and she couldn't come down. So we used to go and draw. Actually, that pins my heart when I saw 80-year-old, 85-year-old staying all alone in a small hut, and the powder that used to give, she used to make laddu and eat. Actually, that touched my heart till today. That memory still stands very strong with me, and that is why my focus actually goes on to more of elderly. Maybe in a very young age, I have already seen what difficult life is when we grow older. So that's how when I reached my 10th, I lost my dad. So this was the time. It was very conflicting, as you have seen in your questions very rightly, whether the conflict can be within or from external. There were 2 things. When I lost my dad 2 days before my exam, when coming back, I was in a dilemma completely, because my mother went into depression, and then me missing, because I was very close to my father. So I missed him a lot. And then after that, when I was small, my father used to tell, when you finish your 10th, you will not go to a college, because you know that sometimes college is like a lot of freedom. So he doesn't want me to roam about and loiter around. So he says, you must study in a school. So remembering that thing in my mind, of course, I know I'm coming out from Don Bosco, and I was not a very bad student. I was doing well. And then again, go to a Catholic college was my dream. But looking at my mother's situation of depression, I couldn't just take my one step out. So I said, okay, I stay back. And so I studied in a government higher secondary. Imagine coming out from Don Bosco and studying in government higher secondary was something not imaginable for my friend. But I did it. Of course, it was difficult because I need to travel 16 kilometers up and down every day bicycle. In a northeastern state, in winter time, 4:30 is like midnight for all of us out here. So it was quite difficult. So when 2 years passed by, my mom became all right and said, now you go, because she has seen my struggle and the things that I was not liking, because academic process is totally different in a missionary environment and in a government setup. So that was actually conflicting in my mind. So my mom said, now you can go. That's how I I I counseled her. Very considerate. So she sent me to Shillong. So nursing was, of course, never in my list. I didn't know what nursing was. So when I finished my PUC, and then I said, because I tried, of course, for medical, but everything is political, so I didn't have money to pay. So I was not selected. And that one I said, I'm going for my nursing. So my mom said, how are you going to become a nurse? The reason is, seeing one needle, I can run away from the house. My uncle is a doctor. When I see him with his medicine box, I will disappear from the house for 24 hours and hide somewhere else. That was the type of girl I was. And my mom said, how are you going to become a nurse when you're scared of one needle? No, that's why I have not received half of the vaccine that I was supposed to receive in childhood for fear. And every time I escape, somehow I make my strategies to escape from that injection. And I was really, really scared. So I said, Mom, I'm going to take it up and I'll see what I can do. So that's how I reached Shillong in the early 90s, 93. And that is another journey altogether. This journey gave me a kind of feelings. So when I was doing, when I was in my initial years, I had a classmate who is the only normal child of Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa's house is just behind her hospital and the school. So we used to go to her house, Mother Teresa's house, where Sister Nirmala, who took over from Mother Teresa, she was there residing in that home. This has, all the deaf and dumb blind children. So we used to go, we used to do social service, wash clothes, give bath to the kids. And then, even deaf and dumb and blind, every kid used to pray before they could eat. And then after eating, all of us know that the small ones need to be put into the pot. These are the things that has induced me. And the environment that you put, the positive environment you feel when she is around, actually that has helped me feel, humanity, at the end of the day, we are nothing. Nothing belongs to us. When we are no more, everything belongs to somebody else. But if you've been nice to someone who is downtrodden, I think that gives us a will to go ahead and say, okay, hey, there's somebody needing you. And when these Mother Teresa sisters used to come with those children who are already, thrown in the drain, gone just maybe a few hours, and they come with, they come with a lot of sickness like pneumonia. You all know when the newborn has pneumonia, deafness and dumb is the one thing that is the outcome of having pneumonia. Why people have deaf and dumbness, in childhood. This is the reason why we need to look at humanity. This was something which was which touched me a lot when I was doing my early nursing in Shillong. Some things went on because I had affordability issues. Now, more than anything, I had affordability conflict. So I used to get, when I finished my training, I taught the state, and I took up even the secretary's post in Meghalaya state. That's not my home state, it's another state. And I used to, I have few skills which I learned in my childhood. So making flower, when Valentine's days come, I make beautiful roses, single roses, pack them, and I used to keep a lot. And then Archie shop are very close to my heart because they made me also learn extra to my skills, which I could save my salary. So keeping all the salary in mind, because I never looked at only doing my basic nursing, but I wanted to do my higher education. But I know I had affordability issues. So I collected every paisa. I never gave it to anyone. But then I took my first admission to Manipal for 2 years. hostel fees, college fees. You know, you go to any big campuses, the fees are not so small. So I took my entire salary, whatever I collected, and I took my own admissions. And first time I flew. Manipal was quite innovative enough to put, you know, an arrow towards Arabian Sea. So I said, even if I don't get an admission, at least let me see the Samudra and come back. That was my opinion of coming for the entrance, and I got it, and I stayed back in Manipal. And this is 21 years in Manipal. Maybe I must have fallen in love with the place and the people. So I'm here. So here another affordability issue is first and second year I could pay with my own things that I had in my bank account. And later on, after coming here, I thought if I go back after doing my PBBSc, I'm going to be working again as a staff nurse, nothing more than that, or maybe at the most assistant lecturer, where I will never have my promotion. I said, no, that's not going to happen to me. So I need to study. So I thought over and over again. Then I thought my immediate sister, she just got married and she has kids. So then I said, you see, you're working now, you need to support me. So when your kids grow up, no, if I'm not dead and alive and working, I will support your children, I said. So that's how my sister gave me, you know, wholeheartedly, she sponsored my entire master's program in Manipal. So I could love this. I'm a spendthrift. Milan knows, and everyone there who knows me knows I'm a spendthrift. But you know, she gave me everything that I asked for, and that's how she made me, you know, very comfortable while I was here as a student in Manipal. She paid every bill that I had to ask her. And this is one strategy, though it was conflicting with me, saying that if affordability is an issue, I found my own strategy. So having is nothing to, you know, river doesn't flow back, but I thought it's my responsibility. So I have educated her 3 children, and now they all finished masters. 2 already got married. They already got government job, and they're well settled now. The third one just left last year after doing masters in Manipal. So all of them were here with me over the last 10 years. They were here with me. They made me, actually, one thing very nice is they made me feel young, because all young people, I have to deal with them. So imagine, you know, the teenagers and the adolescents and the young adults who deal with them is very different. So I have also learned in a way how to stay young with them and how to think like them, you know, and flow. That's how I am able to understand my student much better, because I stay with the young people. So here in Manipal, Manipal has given me almost everything that I looked at, because it has a lot of platform for me to learn new things, for me to get extra training, because this has a lot of affordability, and also they give us a lot of grants, they give us a lot of incentives where you can do extra training. You can always go ahead and, you know, nominate yourself and learn something new always. Because for me to do the same thing is very boring for me. And this is one thing which I jump into. People ask me sometimes, why you want to study again and again? I said, if I don't study, I feel bored. So sometimes I go and ask, what can I do this year? That's
Elsa,
how I look at it. Yes,
Elsa, as we decided, I'm going to pitch in between and making you remind, yeah, to come out of, yeah, it's a beautiful memory lane which you are actually sharing with us. But you know, Elsa, I really wanted to ask you and poke you on that matter, that what you are doing today is for the young nurses, you know, that's most important for us now.
Yeah, that's very nice of you to ask me. My whole energy is kept only for students. Sometimes students ask me, ma'am, why don't you go abroad? I'm sending all of them, and they say, why don't you go abroad? Because I'm one person who cannot stay, you know, isolated, and I like to socialize, and I have lots of friends in and around. I say, no, if I go to somebody's country, I'm focused on my job, money, and maybe little things that you see. So I love India, and I would like to stay in India, but I'll send all of you. So what I did was, my students, right from beginning, I have been doing a lot of you know, student recommendations with the known people that we have. We have a lot of international collaboration. Through them, the students were getting in. Now I have a center which I have IELTS free training for students. So we invest about 1.5 lakhs for every student, single student. We have a beautiful lab with all computers with a high bandwidth internet system. So we take the student only 30 at a time, because it's difficult to focus. So we take mock tests, then those who get good score, we take first shift, and then goes to the second shift. So now we have free training center wherein the students can go learn everything, take the test, take the interview. Every process is free. Every process till they reach there, till they do the exam, till they get appointed, we are all back of them. So we are totally connected with NHS. And so the direct recruitments are happening already. So my first batch is gone out, second batch is coming in October. So this is the second time I'm taking. And now Manipal already has an IELTS test center. So children don't have to go around roaming whole city looking out for a test center. And we already have CBT test center. So everything is in one campus, so students don't want to move anywhere. And this is like a launching pad. So we have done this in the past, last 2 years, I was rigorously hunting for the students pathway. So we are able to connect very well with UK. And now I think the door is opening for US also. With this pandemic, actually the pandemic, those who get sick is really sad for them. But if not, I think though the pandemic has hit all of us, the opportunities poured in more than that. More than double the times it has poured in. So we have now more wings to fly, and there is heavy demand for nurses. And actually, there may be some relaxations for them to even move on. So they're just waiting for when the first flight is going in. So these are the graduates. You know, all of us get scared to go to COVID ward today. But my students, those who finish the interview, they're hunting, where can I get a job? When they were given a first job in COVID ward, they said, ma'am, I'm jumping in. I said, okay, go ahead. Because when you want to reach your goal, I don't think anything that they can hinder us. So these are the energy the students, the parents are not willing, but students says, no, ma'am, I want to go and work for 6 months. I don't mind going to the COVID ward. And this is the courage they get in beside the conflicting moments of infections and all that we are talking about. So there's a huge opportunity for nurses. I see, and the nurses, you know, mass exodus.
Agree.
Yeah,
I'm totally
mass
agree.
exodus.
Yeah, I request my team, please mute everybody except me and Elsa. Thank you, Elsa. I must say that you are absolutely right. Challenges is always, converted into opportunity. It just depend on your perception, how you are seeing that. Elsa, I just wanted to know any life incident with the nursing when you are in, as a nurse, found yourself in a major conflict and you have to take some decision. Can you narrate any or reflect on any incident like that?
There were many conflicting moments in life. I will tell you when I was doing my GNM in Shillong, because my teachers, they saw me that I was not very keen in, having boyfriend, girlfriend, all that. Those are not there in my mind. And my friends, most of them, when they were doing internship, they fixed up with guys from the state and they all got settled, got government job, everything. But I was never happy within, are you going to just stop here? I said, no. So I had a different view. So many of them sometimes will come and say, Elsa, you come to join my congregation. No, because I have lived with nun sisters my entire life, except the 6 years at home. So they were after me. But I said, no, I don't want to, because if I want to serve people, if I want to help somebody, I can help much more when I'm single and alone, because I can do what I want. But if you are a nun, you have to give account for every paisa that you spend. I said no, but they realized, okay, I'm not saying about religion, but it is about your spirituality. I'm talking about spirituality, because we need to understand, our one thing is religion is something which people have taken apart to understand what we should be. So I always tell my I have lots of nun friends, and said, now you can't even spend the money that you have, right? But I can help. Any day I can pull out money from my pocket and help anybody without having to account to anyone. And I think that's a great thing to look at. I'm not saying everyone should stay single, but this is my choice. It was quite confusing, because coming from a very strong Hindu family, and I have to become a Christian, and that was the biggest blow I had in my life. But then I stood strong. I said, no, religion is something to teach you what is right and wrong. But spirituality is what I'm looking at, and to be a very nice person. And that's it, I said.
Agree. So I can see, because of your strong spirituality, you able to, manage all sort of conflict. And you always find that a professional conflict is just, lesser or minor than what you have already faced in your life. So I can see that, and you are such a strong personality, I must say. So now we have to be in a rapid fire round, because I'm having so many questions for you, Elsa. So first question is, these questions are given by our participants, the guest nurses who are already in the chat room. What are the various kind of conflict we can experience in our workplace?
Workplace, professional terrorism is always there. If you want to be on the top, you have problem, because if you want to climb up, there'll be no one to pull you up, but there'll be 99 to pull you down. So we have to be very strong, because for me, I don't care what happens next to me, because if you have to speak behind me, it's behind my back. Then I don't care about it. If I'm very strong in my goal, if I'm very much focused to my goal, I think nobody can stop me. That is my belief, and I don't think that should make us feel bad, because when you take into yourself, you feel bad. Why should you feel bad?
Yeah.
Because there is a very thin line difference between what is right and what is wrong. Also, what is right to you can be wrong to me. What is right to me can be wrong to you. So I don't mind. When I have a goal to achieve, I will achieve it.
Yeah, as a 6-9 theory, I am seeing it 6, you must be seeing it 9, but at last it is a number.
Yes.
Yeah. So another question is, most of the time I avoided confrontation even knowing that I am right. So what is there? No conflict between us. Is it right?
No, I don't think that's right to keep quiet, because because we need to be assertive. We need to speak out sometimes. See what is right to you. You need to speak out. If they feel bad, it is their business, not my business. So I know, with the moment I tell something that which was burning within me, when I tell now, you feel lighter. That's what proverb says. A heavy load is lighter when shared by two. So it's better to confront and finish there. Why should you carry home? I don't carry home because after 5 o'clock is my life, and I don't think I need to carry my workplace stress into my personal life. I think we need to be able to differentiate between what is my personal life and my professional life.
As I said in the beginning, confrontation, conflict is all inbuilt. So we cannot escape of this. So next question is, even after giving 100%, people don't acknowledge your work. How do you handle such a situation, Elsa?
That's okay, because see, people who will not acknowledge you will never acknowledge you. But someday you will be known for what you have done. So just we have to wait for time. Time will tell you what you do. Even if the inside of you, your circle doesn't appreciate you, one day you'll be appreciated by many.
Yeah.
And that's a reward you will get. Maybe little later, but that's a reward you will get.
Yeah. And one thing I want to add here with the Elsa statement, absolutely right. Then I really wanted to ask, you are working for whom? Are you working to satisfy yourself that you did it right and you given your 100%, or you are doing it to just that people should acknowledge you? So let me tell you, if you're doing things just to get acknowledgement, probably you will not get it. So always think you are doing things out of your passion or just to show to the people, because that can be another major area where we can talk. Yeah, you want to say something else, I believe.
Yes, I don't look for anybody's acknowledgement. I think that's the last thing that I will do. I don't care about it, because when I have something that I want to accomplish in my life, I think I need to work. So I need to do it, and I don't look whether they praise me or not, doesn't matter. I know what I have done. The happiness within me, nobody can chori.
Yeah, that's a true story. So I hope everybody would be agree. Acknowledgement is something which comes inside. Nobody outside people can give us acknowledgement. How to improve relationship with negative attitude people?
Yeah, in my life there were so many incidences. I understand, but there are some circumstances where you cannot avoid. So best thing is you need to stay a little away from negative people. But because why I say this is, I'm sure most of you are married except for a few of us maybe. So when you have early morning, if your mother-in-law is not very happy in the morning and she makes little kiri there, you feel the whole environment become negative. Whatever you prepare also, it doesn't taste. So negative vibrations are very strong, and henceforth you need to stay a little away from them, but you can't avoid in the workplace. So what you have to do is you have to show more positive towards them. Then they'll start changing slowly over time. I have seen people change.
Yeah, and I would say यहाँ पर negative लोगों के साथ confrontation avoid करना चाहिए, because
Yes.
they
you don't argue with them. You don't argue with them. Just leave it behind. Just leave it away.
Yeah. How tactfully deal with insecure, dominant seniors to avoid conflict? I hope you must have, suffered a lot and faced a lot.
No, over time, because I'm not so affected by any of the insecurity feelings by them, because that is their problem, not my problem. So I look at if I want to grow in life, I look at where I can, which ladder I can climb. So I have never climbed through anyone like that, because I need to put my best efforts to climb where I want to climb. So with conflicting areas, you may have little slower growth, because even though you work very hard, because you are not pampered and supported totally, but still you can reach your goal. And when you reach that goal, you will say, okay, I did it. Okay, and that's one happiness that I look for within always. So I'm not much bothered about by people who are sitting in position and they have insecurity. That is totally their outlook.
Great. So next question is how to handle failure and cope up with it.
Actually, failures, as Riley said, by proverb, failure is a stepping stone to success. I'll tell you my story of how, because I was one child who was doing very well in my academics, though I don't sit and study all the time. I was reading all the time comics. I fought so many times for reading comics in the study hall. But I like to read anything other than my textbook. So read any novel, anything I will read, but novels were not allowed in school. We are allowed to read only holy books and beautiful stories, moral books and things like that, because we are in convent school. So there are times you are caught reading, and these are the things that it hurt you sometimes, because you conflicting areas where we would like to see. If you want to improve your English, you need to read novels. Unless you read novels, you will not get a good idea to connect with your, if you want to connect with friends, or if you want to connect with people, the language you use will be very different. So if you are a constant reader and follower of different kinds of books, you will definitely have differences in your lookout altogether. So some of these things need to be looked at very carefully for the youngsters, especially today. We have everything, and take your screen on your mobile, you have everything. People are going to have problems because shortcuts. Okay, the way they express is very today. If you see, the youngsters are very smart, very intelligent, but we have problem only with behavior. So we, as faculty and in a senior nurses, we need to look at how we can shape actually their behavior, because that's the only one place they need to be molded. Otherwise, they are very smart, they are very quick, and you throw something there, or answer will be already there at the tip of their fingers. But we need to handle their emotions, which is very important. So I think these are important for us to look at.
Yeah. So our next question is, conflict between personal and professional relationship is considered normal. What is your take on that?
I don't think conflict between personal and professional is totally imbalanced life. Actually, if you look at work-life balance, it says you should learn how to, if you are going home, don't carry what you discuss in your workplace, and don't carry home your issues. Or when you come to the workplace, you leave your things from home. Don't bring your argument and gossip to the workplace. But this happens. It may be a joke, but sometimes I used to tell my nursing friends, don't marry a nurse, because you will have nothing to share other than patient problem and only problem. So, so I always say, look for people who are outside of your profession. So you have something unique to share and talk over, and not talk about problem, because we nurses are very good about talking only about problems. So we are problem focused learners. So we need to look at how we can balance. So after your 5 o'clock, it's your life. Nobody should be able to bother about it. And within your academic, you must do your maximum. It's not like sitting for 8 hours, but you need to give. I believe in product, not only the process. So that's very important.
Okay. So Elsa, now we are having few questions from the chat box. The one question is, ma'am, how do you deal with the opinion differences in the team itself?
Oh, see, all of us, even children of the same parents, we look very different. We behave very different. Obviously, you are going to have difference of opinion. Doesn't matter. But if you're able to justify why you said this, or how it will be if you look at from your point of view, there is no harm in expressing your opinion. If it is nice, they'll take. If it is not nice, leave it. That's it. You should not be conflicting just because I say or the boss says. No, we always look at with open mind to see what he or he is saying is, is going to have any positive impact on our academic, on our growth, or for anybody else, if it is for the customer. So we need to look at what is said, not who has said.
Yeah, exactly. We should focus on the content of the talk. As we said, that conflict is something very natural to come, because everybody's belong to a different mindset, personality, belief. So the next question is, doctor never appreciate our work, so it hurts sometime. What do you suggest for that, ma'am?
Actually, for me, I work for interprofession. I'm a former fellow who works with multiple professions. So we even classmates, my classmates are all professor and head of medicine department. There are so many of them, but I don't have any inhibition. Though I'm a nurse, I'm very proud nurse because looking at me, sometimes they ask, "You're a nurse there?" They have confusion. I said, "Yes, I'm a nurse." So, but then they'll wonder why, because it's your capacity you need to understand. When you learn together in a common platform with medicals, with the architecture, engineers, we have classmates of all fields, but we need to learn as friends, okay, working together for a common cause. But we need to understand our team efforts. We need to understand. We need to also segregate what are my professional responsibilities, okay. And if we are able to see the ethics within our communication and our path, I may be a nurse. I do my nursing profession, nursing activities. They are physician. They'll do their physician job. If there is no conflict within what we are doing, if we are bound by the ethics, and also if you have a very good IPR and a very good communication skill, everything actually will resolve. Now I have in my team doctors and forensic experts, I have pharmacists I have with me when I take my medication safety. You cannot give medication alone because you have pharmacy, you have physician needs to order, pharmacy has to dispense it, nurse has to give it. So we have multiple, and if you make an error, you have the forensic expert. So I have in my team, I don't think any one of us have ego issues out there. So we are doing our own roles, trying to work together for a common cause. So I think that interprofessional attitude need to come into our profession so that we mind our business and we collaborate well. That's it.
Yeah. Before asking next question, that's a lovely question. I really wanted to add one point here. Why we are looking at acknowledgement from the doctor? I mean, being a nurse, can't we acknowledge each other? Can't we acknowledge our juniors? Can't we acknowledge our senior? Can't we appreciate them? So why it is always doctor nurses? I don't know why it comes, because we all are healthcare professionals, and why we always expect appreciation from the another discipline. So we have to break this stereotypic mentality. So we should come up why we can't have a nurses get together and we are appreciating each other with the award and with the tags. Yes, Elsa, what do you?
I don't think the doctors have negative. Public actually don't have negative. They have very good positive attitude toward nurses. I think we nurses have problem with our own attitude. And one single thing to solve this issue is salary standardization. If you are paid well, I don't think anyone will have this problem.
Not exactly, but yeah, definitely that's another, a whole big topic. Because first of all, we have to respect ourselves. Problem is that we are not respecting our own profession, and therefore we are expecting others to respect us.
Yeah,
that's a
and
major
one more
problem.
thing is that our status has an issue because we never raise our status, especially in the academic side. To some extent, it is happening, but in the clinical side, it is not happening because we don't want juniors to come up and they are always, they walk on their head, and that is not done. If you raise the standard and salary of the nurses, I don't think we need to bother about what people say and do about us. We do our job, we get appreciated by patients. I think that is more than sufficient. If patient says,
I hope somebody from the policy making listening, Elsa, right now. Yeah. So our next question, next question is a little controversial, and I request Elsa to be, diplomatic. Now in this pandemic, nurses are getting little less supply of PPE, but still they are, expected to work. So there is a conflict in mind of the nurses how to deal with this such situation.
No, this is a very administrative question where I am not bound to answer that question actually, because for me, if I'm a nurse, I expect that PPE to be given for everything that I do when I enter to my workplace. This has to be compulsorily given, because for that I see in social media, people quit their job because no PPE. I see all these stories are listened by many, but it's totally on the hospital. Now you see some cities are overwhelmed. Being part of that step one, I know everyday counseling 10, 15, 20 patients. I understand how hard the nurses would have been facing in the COVID scenario. And patients have a lot of expectations. From my counseling, I realized that patients have maximum expectation from the healthcare professionals. So in my last advice to the patient will be, see, the doctors and nurses are struggling in the hospital. They themselves are getting infected, and so there is less member to care. So when you do not get an answer every time you call, you need to understand that they must be busy. And when they are on PPE, they cannot take their mobile and answer you also. So you need to understand the situation. So this is one piece of counseling that I give out of my, more than what is asked by me, asked by the company to counsel the patient. So We both end need to understand. So when patients are loaded, the load is on the nurses, because nurses are there always with the patient all the time. So there's a heavy infection. Number is not given. I know the statistics is never the correct picture out there. But we have a lot of nurses, because nurses, most of us are breadwinner in the family. You cannot leave your job, but you have to do it, but at the risk of our own lives. So I think this is a serious condition, serious thought to be put by the administrators. It's very important issue for us.
Yeah. And again, nurses is also on senior position. They can also be the voice of the junior nurses and the frontline manager who was directly working with the patient. With next question, it is coming from the Uma ma'am. So this question is, can conflict can be constructive?
Of course, it can be very, that's why I said in my first sentence, if there was not conflict in my entire life, I don't think I reach here. I don't think I reach here, because if we relax, you sleep and you do nothing absolutely. So when you know that there is a challenge in front of you, you try to solve it. So you see, that's why they say if you lazy people, actually they are very innovative because they know the shortcut. So, but then when conflict is there, you know what strategies to take. So we need to take home saying that unless there is a difficulty, nobody will understand what is the success out there for you.
Yes. Two more questions to go. Elsa, I'm sorry for that. What are the integrants of the conflict management? I actually want to take this question at last because this will be directly connecting with your tips. So I'm taking another question right now. What do you do? How a nurse can play an important role in conflict management? What is your stand on that, Elsa?
Personal conflict, of course, you have to manage your own personal conflict. But in the workplace conflict, I think leaders have a lot to do, because if the workplace is full of conflicts, you are not going to have a smooth functioning of whether it is academic or clinical, wherever it is. So when it doesn't function, it is going to show up in your performance. It's going to show up in your feedback. It's going to show up everywhere. So every leader needs to think and manage herself first, number one. And there should not be. I know no one is perfect, but we need to bring down the level of partiality and groupism. All these things should come down so that we can have a very harmonious working relationship. And if people look for what they want, it's not that everybody looks for apple. Some people may want oranges also. Some people may want pineapple also. So people may look very differently, but we need to appreciate and learn and work together. So leader has a big role to play there. Should be very cohesive. There should be inclusiveness in that individual. That's a leader.
A happy workplace concept should be introduced by the nurses and the senior nurses, and it can be done by the junior nurses as well. So please work on that happy workplace, because most of the time are spent on the workplace. So it should be very happy. I am having a very interesting question. If we are doing something innovative, but it's completely restricted in your routine work, so how do you resolve that conflict?
Yeah, that's a very beautiful question you're asking to me. I also do a lot of innovative idea creation workshop. This was not this was very much receptive in the beginning, but when you but there are also hijacking of your IPR, hijacking of your intellectual property rights. Yes, there are conflicting moments, but it doesn't stop me. So actually, nurses are very good at finding problems and solutions. I'm telling you. Nurses are, because we study nursing process is problem oriented. So we are very good. If patient has a problem, now I have to think second round, what can I do to lessen the problem, or how can I remove the problem? There comes innovation. So I started with my simple ampule cutter when I was this was in 2005. I worked on, and I was invited to Brussels for a presentation. I was totally sponsored by them. I flew to Brussels all by myself, and I think it's very small ampule cutter to prevent your ampule, while breaking your ampules, to prevent injuries to your hand and injuries to the patient, and spillage on the floor and all that to prevent. That's a small device, but I was invited, and these are some of the things. Nobody can set a boundary for you. To think innovative, nobody has to command on you. It is your your thought altogether, so you don't have to worry. So in Manipal, actually, we have innovation center, and so we don't have to worry much. If you have an idea, you can create it. But only one thing is that nurses, we do not document well, so people can hijack your ideas, and they can claim. So there you have to take care.
So I have to join Manipal then. I really want to do that.
We compete with any platform. We compete with engineers. We compete with medicals. It's an innovation day all together. So we have our own things to make prototype or 3D print or whatever is that, and then we also compete with them. We are not less than them, and we find something. We get even awards, best model award, because we know what is the problem to be solved at the ground level.
Yeah. So now, Elsa, it's a time. Sorry, we can actually keep talking, and it was lovely talking to you. So it's time for the last question, as well as tips from your side, that how we can, in our daily routine, improve ourselves and conflict management at workplace, home place, and social platforms. So last question is, what are the integrant of the conflict management?
You had asked me on for me, conflict management. For me, I want to speak for the young nurses now. All of us have grown to some age, so we know how to handle. But for the young nurses, growing up nurses, one point I need to tell is not to fix up too early in life. There is a conflict always. See, when you do your BSc and you fix up and you get married, you have a kid, you have a husband, you have in-laws, take care, and then you want to do masters, you want to do PhD. So managing all these things becomes, it's like permanent head damage for that woman who wants to study. So not to fix up in life, number one, to avoid conflicting moments in life. If they want to study first, and then you fix up and settle in life. And conflict will always be there in an individual's plethora of experiences that is there. But end of life, we need to carry home beautiful memories. None of us are permanent out here. We carry nothing absolutely from here. And therefore, we need to carry beautiful memories. Beautiful memories comes only when you help somebody, when you and unconditionally without expecting anything in return. And I think that makes you find a very peaceful moment with you. You have helped and you feel very good. That feeling good, nobody can steal from you. I think that is the one thing that can resolve all your painful moments in life. But don't carry home. After 5 o'clock, what has happened in the workplace, please forget it and leave it there only. And then, why should you carry? And because you will only have ulcer, nobody else. The only conflicting people and those who feel bad only will have ulcer. So we to avoid that, youngsters need to know what you need to push ahead of life, and to avoid all this. See, in our time, you and me, we would have studied nursing for 15 years to do up to your PhD. But today, the things have changed. Immediately after masters, you can do your PhD. So in few years' time, you're able to complete your PhD. So by the time you are 30 years, already you finish your PhD. Means you can contribute long time. You can be very productive. If you do PhD at the age of 60, there is no point in it, because it's only we are going to damage we will become dementiated. That's there. So if in early in life, youngsters need to think, go ahead in life, and you need to push. You need to push yourself, get to what you want to get at the earliest, and contribute. You can do much more than that. But in every workplace, you'll have difficult people. That will be there. None of us are equal. Not even our 5 fingers are equal. So we are going to have difficult people. But you need to know the tactics of handling difficult people. If you can't convince, you have to leave sometimes. Okay. So, but then you need to focus on your activities and not to get conflicted with their thinking. What will they tell? What will they say? What will they do? And those are immaterial to your mind. So when if you are able to maintain, nothing hampers your progress.
Great. Yeah. I request Krish. Krish, can you launch the poll, because we forget to launch poll in between, so we'll be having 2 polls right now. Yeah. Thank you, Elsa. Seriously, it was a very motivational and inspiring, I must say. And I felt somewhere, I don't know why, I felt very emotional when you are talking about your childhood and your experience. But it was actually lovely, and I'm just enjoying seeing all the chat box responses and the comments. You will be enjoying it after some time. So is it launched? Poll?
Yeah, it's already there. It's already here.
Ah, great. Back to back, Krish, I request you to back to back launch both polls.
This poll is stuck. It's not taking up the answer.
Okay. Thank you, Milind. So we can stop the poll here only. Yeah. Elsa, would you like to say anything else, or would you allow me to wind up the session?
one sentence.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, we all need to dream very big, and that's my message for the day.
Thank you very much, Elsa, for giving this last line. When I believe, dreaming is something which is giving you wheel to walk. Though people call it, it's a flying dream, but definitely until unless आप सपने नहीं देखेंगे, तो आप चलना कैसे शुरू करेंगे? Well, let me tell you, people, aeroplane किसने invent किया था? So it's a big debate. क्योंकि लिनार्डो दा विंची ने 1200 में ही उसकी पिक्चर बना दी थी, तो he was the first person who actually visioned that there would be a machine will be flying in the air. So it is always, please do watch dream, सपने देखिए, जैसा कि एपीजे ने कहा था, please do watch dream, but always work hard to make your dream comes true. Another thing is that now it comes to the conflict management, and it's a lovely session, Elsa. I must say thank you very much for being on the show, and I really like and re-emphasize your few points like games. In today's scenario, आज की date में indoors, we keep ourselves inside. हमारे बच्चे घर में रहते हैं. We have lost the importance of outdoor play games, and let me tell you, Elsa is a national kabaddi champion also. So we can see that therefore she can manage so many conflicts so easily because she's already a kabaddi champion. So outdoor plays games has a important role in personality development and in a future problem solving situations, so that if we'll allow our children to play more, so they definitely will not be facing so many conflict in their life. Another thing is, nothing belongs to us. Yeah, it's a beautiful sentence, and that's what we can see. There is a firmness in her personality. She was always assertive because somewhere she is not looking at herself. She is not doing things for her own benefit. When you are doing things for the people benefit, let me tell you, you get the strength to speak in front of everybody that it should be done. But definitely your body language, your words, as Elsa said, is very important. And this is an art. Anybody can learn it. Last and not the least, which we can see in Elsa's life, is selflessness. And thank you very much, Elsa. Again and again, I have no words except saying thanks from bottom of my heart. But last but not the least, I really wanted to give a quick tip to everyone. Like if there is a conflict, so if you are on higher position, you are on topmost, let me tell you, you have experience to anticipate that conflict in the beginning. So please, please, please try to find out the cause of that fever. Conflict is a fever. So you are enough good experienced clinician. You can find out the reason why this conflict and how deep and how problematic this conflict could be for your team, could be for your organization. If you are a middle manager, so please, I request you, try to understand the situation, because as I said in the beginning, sometimes people react and respond as per their life condition. Try to understand the situation of a senior. Probably today he is not in a very good life state and he couldn't answer and he couldn't respond on that situation and he reacted on it. As well as your junior. Probably your junior doesn't have that much wisdom that they can see that the idea which they are giving could be problematic in future. So the middle manager is always having a very huge responsibility on their shoulder to become bridge between the down the line as well as up the line. And when it comes to the a frontline manager, the nurses, we all the most junior and budding nurses, then we feel that we are the drop in ocean. Don't feel like that, because this drop, if shed on a shell, sea पे अगर वो drop गिरेगा तो definitely it will become a pearl. So it's entirely on you how you are seeing yourself. So please do understand the situation, do see situation from a larger aspect. I keep telling everyone, please, please, please see the aerial view of the problem, and then you realize this problem is not that big as you are seeing. Try to step out of the problem for some time. It is always a good idea when you are anticipating any conflict. You can change your seat. A simple example, if you are having a next adjacent seat empty, then please take off and take that seat. Sometimes that energy break, sometimes that just changing your position, and if your junior is actually getting hyper, just putting a hand on their shoulder, you won't believe, will do the miracle, and you can stop many conflict and that place. There is so many things on Google. You can go and you can read, and I believe that you will not see conflict as a problem, because conflict is a solution also. Conflict is an innovation also. So finally, we can say that there's a 3 type of conflict. We can resolve conflict if we have that capacity, and if we can do that, we can manage conflict, because all conflict cannot be resolved sometime, and sometimes conflict can be constructive and they can transform your whole idea. With that note, I really want to close the session today, and thank you very much. See you next week, and we'll be waiting for you. And thanks, Elsa, once again, and thanks everyone. Thank you very much. I request Uma ma'am. Uma ma'am is the you of this show, because our show name is You, the Nurse Talk Show, and this U stand for the Uma ma'am. Uma ma'am, Krish, can you unmute Uma ma'am?